Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Ken's Travels. This is episode number 51, and in this episode we'll be showing you Essaouira, Morocco. A little bit about Essaouira. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has a population of about 70,000 people or so. The average monthly income is about $380. Essaouira is also known as the Windy City of Africa. It is extremely windy here, and you'll see a little bit about that in this video. Now here I'm just arriving into Essaouira. The super tour bus was about $10 from Marrakesh, Morocco to Essaouira, and it took about 3 hours to get there. So this is the hotel booked in Essaouira, Essaouira, however you say it. As you can see, very, very nice design. It's a Riad. Almost looks like it's fit for a king or prince or princess, queen, whatever. Every little intimate detail is just perfect. Ow, sorry, just hit my funny bone. You can see the beautiful bathroom. Every detail is just like immaculate. See the sink there. And then here, I guess that's a bidet and a toilet. And then this is the bathtub. The best part, you see how huge it is in here. Can't wait to get in there. That's pretty much the top of it. And then Squala was built in 1765 by French architect Theodore Cornut. It was built for defense against attacks from the sea. Altogether, it took 3 years to finish. Now in this area that I'm currently walking in, you'll notice these cannons out here. Altogether, there's 19 cannons that are made in Spain of copper from Mexico and Peru. This area also is an area where a couple episodes of Game of Thrones were filmed, the HBO series. Now this area here at the Fortification and all, it's right near the Medina, it's right near the beach. My hotel is not too far away from here, so everything's in the same general area. Here you can see, as I was talking about the wind, you can see I'm just standing there and you can see how the wind is just blowing like crazy. It wasn't as bad as some other areas, but up here the wind was really, really bad. Now here's another part that we walked into. Just wanted to see what was in here. And there's just another area with some more cannons and just another overlook of the water. I got a little kick out of this lady here to the right that was getting recorded. Her looking like she's like Michael Jackson on stage with the fans blowing. I mean, she's just trying to show how windy it is there, so I got a little kick out of her. Alright, next up is the Medina Essaouira, which is a walled old town with ramparts and ocean views, art galleries, Moroccan eateries and shops, selling rugs, spices, and ceramics. There's also a lot of riads here. As I said before, riads are like hotels or places that you can stay with that Moroccan touch that you'd have to see and experience for yourself. Now, this area is also designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2001. For those of you unfamiliar with what a UNESCO World Heritage Site is, it's basically places or sites of outstanding universal value. These places or buildings are thought to have special importance for everyone, and they are located throughout the world. Now, this Medina is very similar to the Medina Americas, except it's a lot more smaller and a lot more easier to navigate and a lot more relaxed. I had my fun while I was there. I just walked around and got lost with reckless and careless abandon, but that's part of the fun too. Alright, next up is the port of Essaouira. If you're not familiar with Essaouira, Essaouira is a port town. And the Sultan wanted to build a port town that would open up Morocco to the outside world and assist in developing commercial relations with Europe. So this area we're in right now, it's actually an Airbnb experience. It's called the Seafood Extravaganza. And if you're not familiar with what Airbnb experiences are, in addition to Airbnb renting out apartment homes and houses and rooms, they also have experiences. So the experiences could be a wide spectrum of different types of tours. It could be a cooking class, it could be a tour of the city, it could be learning how to dance, it could be a bar crawl. There's just an endless amount of experiences on Airbnb that you can experience. As I said, this one is the Seafood Extravaganza, and I'm going to read out to you what it basically entails. We will meet at the Medina Clock Tower and head to one of the oldest fish markets in the world. It's here where I'll introduce the freshest seafood that comes in daily from the Atlantic Ocean while we shop and browse among local fishmongers. You will handpick the best selection of seafood that is in season while learning about the different varieties of seafood and where fruit comes from. Once we have our seafood, we will go back and pick the best local produced wine to accompany our meal. From here, it is about a 15-minute walk to my place where I will prepare for you the seafood and we'll set our table and enjoy our seafood and wine indoors or outdoors in my garden. Now, about this tour, a couple things to note I can say is on this particular tour, on this particular day, we did not have wine, and we also did not go back to the host Kim's house. He took us to this little restaurant that was in the Medina, which you just seen in the previous video. And basically what they do is once you get your fresh catch of the day, you take it there and they cook it for you. So as you'll see later when we go there, all the things that we selected, all the meats that we selected, all the vegetables and salad and everything else, they prepare it for you, and you'll see that later on in the video. This area was pretty cool. I will say being around all that seafood and things, at times it did stink, but I mean, that's to be expected. Another thing to note, sometimes I wasn't too crazy about the sanitary conditions of some of the meat and how it was sitting out and things, but having said that, you do have to throw a little bit of caution to the wind, realizing that you are in Africa and you are in Morocco. I think sometimes us as Americans, we get a little bit bougie and we think that everything's just supposed to be perfect the way sometimes that we have it in America, and that's just not the case. And when you're visiting other countries and other cultures, you have to respect their country and respect their culture, and you just got to wing it a little bit and just be at ease and relax and stop being so uptight. I think this tour probably lasted all together about 2 to 3 hours. I really enjoyed it, and Kim was a great host. He actually took me to a couple other places, and he also offered to take me to tour the city the next day too, but I actually didn't have time. We'll get to that a little bit in the video as to why. Another thing to note, I actually did book this tour about 3 years before, back in 2020, I want to say, but it was during the height of the COVID pandemic, so I had to cancel this tour and everything else because COVID basically ruined everything. Now this part here I just happened to see as I was walking, and it was
the closest I was able to get to the water without being on the beach. And then you add the backdrop and you see the birds up in the sky, and it was amazing there. So I had to climb over the little wall to get there, and I just wanted to be part of this scenery and this backdrop. So here in this part, we're just walking through the Medina again. The same part I showed you earlier, but a different part of the Medina. This is after we got the local catch of the day, all of the seafood that we were going to cook, and now we're just getting the vegetables and things to go along with it. Now, while I was back here, you'll hear like a chicken or a rooster or whatever it was making noise, and all I was thinking in the back of my head was like, please let this bird be back here and producing eggs for them or something. Please don't tell me they about to kill this damn chicken while I'm back here and I see them cut off his head or something. So like while Kim was getting the food and everything, in the back of my mind, I was just like, please, 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 God, don't let them kill this chicken or rooster or whatever while I'm back here.
Can you hold it, please? I will mix salad between vegetables and the fruits.
Okay.
It sounds well. Sounds good for you?
Yep. And what is this again?
Like kind of lobster, small one, like langoustine, called langoustine.
Next up, we went to Art Gallery. This is actually a place that Kim works at as well, and it's not even part of a tour. He just took us there. He let me look around and see some of the art, and he showed me upstairs. Very nice, very generous. He bought me some drinks. I even wanted to get some dessert, some little cakes from a place, and he paid for that too. Very, very extremely generous and an overall nice guy. Pretty good artwork and a nice art gallery as well. Next up is Essaouira Beach, baby. Actually, Essaouira Beach is a pretty cool beach. It's actually very close in the same vicinity as everything else. My hotel was about maybe 5 minutes away, but it's also near the Medina. It's near the Ramparts. It's near the port. Everything is in walking distance, which makes Essaouira so great. Now, some of the things that you could do at Essaouira Beach are some of the standard typical things. You have little concrete football, basketball areas. They have trampolines. You can do windsurfing, surfing in general, kite surfing. There's also areas in which you can ride like horses and camels, all the typical standard things that you would be able to do at a beach. A word of caution though is that at this beach, because of the winds on certain days, unless it's calmer and cooler, you have to be careful with like sunbathing and swimming in the waters, because sometimes those waters are pretty aggressive, like I said, due because of the wind. All in all, I had a great time here. I didn't actually like go on the beach and just chill and lounge or do anything, like I said, mainly because of the winds, but I did enjoy myself, and it's one of the top places that you need to visit in Essaouira as well. Hey, I don't remember what this was, y'all, but man, this shit here, I think it had beef and some other stuff in it, but oh my god, it was so good. There she is, that's my baby, my horse. Alright, so this particular experience was another Airbnb experience that I took. I had rode a horse once before when I was in Phoenix. It was pretty cool. It was just so for me riding a horse, but I wanted to try it again because of the scenic backdrops that this one said that you would go through. So in this one, for example, you went on a beach, you went through the forest, you went through the sand dunes, and the combination of all of that was just absolutely incredible and amazing. Now, some of this video that I'm showing you, actually my camera, both of my cameras had died on this trip. I forgot to charge them up, so I can't even show you some of the most beautiful scenic sights that you would just ever imagine. Like going through the lush green forest, going through the sand dunes. There was one part where you're going through the sand dunes and there's like dunes, and just because of how the wind was blowing, it just looked like something otherworldly. And then, not to even mention the beach, when you had the sand and then the beach and then the wind, the way the wind was blowing so aggressively on the beach, and the backdrop and the sunset, and it was indescribable how beautiful it was. Like, I just wish that I could have got that recorded, but unfortunately I couldn't. So anyway, this took a little bit over 2 hours. I was inexperienced, so the rest of the group went with more experienced riders. The guy I rode with was pretty cool. One of the things I didn't like is that he seemed to be kind of impatient at times, and I was just trying to be careful and safe because the last thing I want to do is get hurt while I'm on vacation. But at times it seemed like he was trying to push me to say Zed to the horse and hit it and stuff like that to make it go. Actually, on this trip 2 different times the horse took off like a damn rocket, and I thought I was going to die. So you'll hear in this video where like I screamed. Besides that, everything was cool. When we got back to the stables, when I went to get off of the horse, the saddle, I don't know if it was tight enough, so I ended up falling off of the horse onto the ground. So overall, a good trip, but there were some setbacks too. Well, guys, that wraps up another episode. If you haven't noticed, this is actually episode 51, and we haven't done episode 50 yet. Still working on it, but just wanted to get you some new content out, but that one will be released at a later date.